An IPL version of India's 36 all out at Adelaide against Australia, which they also wear like a badge and take something away from the game. What did Rajasthan actually take away from a match which they lost by 57 runs? That same famous one from the RCB sheds that their critics refuse to let them forget, that 49 all out against KKR. Riyan Parag doesn't find form soon. Things could get troublesome. Early wickets of Abhishek Sharma, first ball duck for him, and restricting Travis Head to 18 from 18, all very good signs. But the intensity and the frequency of those negatives that interspersed with those positives was far too much for them to handle. And obviously that was down to the Hinge-Hussain ability to bowl different kinds of slower balls. Watching Hussain bowl them, I thought if they were dipping onto the batsman, the Faf du Plessis made was Kishan even needs to give up on his keeping gloves. I wonder who said this. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. If Vaibhav can't get you, Jaiswal must. I really wonder who. The modern day version, or at least the IPL 2026 version of that, is ashes to ashes, dust to dust. If Vaibhav don't get you, Jaiswal must. In last night's game between Hyderabad and Rajasthan, it clearly was a case of if Hinge can't get you, Hussain must, as both the IPL debutants grabbed 4 wickets each to relegate the Royals to a shock first defeat of this season. I had a comment from someone who had pointed out that one cannot be sure with Rajasthan if they can maintain that early momentum, which is what they have done all seasons since the 2008 edition. And for their sake, I hope that this was an aberration, a one-off shock collapse. An IPL version of India's 36 all out at Adelaide against Australia, which they also wear like a badge and take something away from the game. So let's get that out of the way first. What did Rajasthan actually take away from a match which they lost by 57 runs? Well, at 9 for 5, they were staring down at their lowest IPL score in history, not just theirs, the lowest IPL score by anyone in history. Yes, that same famous one from the RCB sheds that their critics refused to let them forget, that 49 all out against KKR. Rajasthan themselves have scores of 58 and 59 earlier as their lowest scores, so those two were in danger as well at 9 for 5. They managed to go beyond each of those scores thanks to a 6th wicket stand between Donovan Ferreira and Ravindra Jadeja, a partnership that added 118 runs. More vitally, it gave more respite to the dressing room for their tournament chances, because Royals, the batting is quite top heavy, and if Riyan Parag doesn't find form soon, things could get troublesome. Now they know at least that they have Ferreira and Jadeja who can play their part. Interestingly, Ferreira had come into the playing 11, playing 12, in place of Shimron Hetmyer, and has all but nudged him away from the team for the time being, I suppose. Speaking of Rajasthan's bowling, they did concede 216, but Jofra Archer and Nandre Berger were generally difficult to get away. Another big positive for them. Early wickets of Abhishek Sharma, first ball duck for him, and restricting Travis Head to 18 from 18, all very good signs. But that's where the positives ended for the Royals, because Sunrisers got to that 216 score thanks to some hard hitting from Klassen, Nitish, and Sadil Arora, all of whom chipped in once their leader, their captain Ishan Kishan, had led the way with a 44 ball 91. Still, some might feel that that's a lot of positive for Rajasthan, and that is the fact for sure. But the intensity and the frequency of those negatives that interspersed with those positives was far too much for them to handle. And obviously that was down to the Hinge-Hussain combo. One grabbed wickets at the start, the other got them at the end, both showing different aspects of bowling that had the opponents on the mat. Hinge, who would go on to win the Player of the Match award for breaking Rajasthan Royals' batting back, became the first ever bowler in the history of IPL to take 3 wickets in the very first over of the match. And those included Suryavanshi, Jurail, and Loandre Pretorius, who was playing his first match as well, and would later also include Riyan Parag's wicket. Hussain found a way to cramp the Jaiswal cut enough that he didn't get as much power in it as he would have liked. More vitally, when he later came on to ball, by which time obviously the game was all but over, it was in Hyderabad's pockets, he showed a different side of it, an ability to bowl different kinds of slower balls. Watching Hussain bowl them, I thought if they were dipping onto the batsmen as well as the Lungi Ngidi ones do, but we'll have a look at them as we go along in the tournament. The one comparison that Faf du Plessis made was an even better one, speaking of how Hussain's last-minute wrist jerk to bowl those deliveries reminded him of Mustafizur Rahman. Now, I would also like to quickly add that the sense that I got to begin with from Rajasthan batters was that of complacency at the start of their chase, almost like they did not even want to take a look at the new bowlers. That complacency combined with the runs on board, and that was a decent score of 216, and the Hinge-Hussain pair, their refusal to take a back step, they had nothing to lose almost, proved to be the perfect storm. And kudos to the Hyderabad management as well. I mean, how many would hand out caps to two fast bowling debutants and get them to open the bowling as well? At the start, I reminded you of one of my previous videos, and I suppose I should end it like that as well. Since very early in the tournament, I was of the opinion that Ishan Kishan needs to give up on his keeping gloves. They are SRH overloading Ishan Kishan till such time that Pat Cummins returns to lead the side. Hyderabad may need him to go down to the to field at mid-on, mid-off and leave the gloves to someone like a Salil Arora or a Andre Klassen. It wasn't too much to do with his keeping per se, but more so because he has so much on his plate. Captaincy, top three batsmen, the best batsman probably in the team, and obviously keeping. And secondly, there's a need for the captain to be next to his bowlers at mid-on and mid-off. Now, after having lost 3 matches and having taken 5 games, Ishan Kishan has finally done what's right for the team. Salil Arora took over the keeping gloves and did a reasonable job of it. Hopefully, we don't see a change from here onwards. And Ishan Kishan at mid-on and mid-off did a good job with his captaincy as well. You let me know what you thought about Hyderabad's performance in the comment section. Till next time, bye-bye.